Customize Raiden's body, you know it, because we've got some other stuff to look at. So, of course, we get the suit, very similar to the one he wears at the beginning of the game. This is actually the one he wore in the 2011 trailer. He doesn't have gloves and his hair is styled a little differently. I prefer the one that shows up in-game, but still cool that we get a suit. Of course, there's the mariachi uniform. There's the Chapter 0 body. We'll take a look at most of these. There's our original body. There's some different colored artificial muscle that gives us some different abilities. I rather like the look of the blue one, actually. I think it looks really neat. There's the Desperado body, but what we're going to be wearing this time is the best one, the Gray Fox outfit. We've also got some wigs, which you can't see with this costume, obviously. We'll take a look at these later. But there's Infinity Wig A, which is brown and gives us infinite ammo. Infinity Wig B, which is blue, but actually looks white in-game, gives us infinite Ripper mode gauge. And yellow, which just lets us slice things apart randomly. I point this out because something we'll use with the Gray Fox outfit kind of has a similar effect. But if you remember from Metal Gear Solid 2, these are the same wigs that you can get there. Ha 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 ha, that's very cute.
It's Raiden. I'm in the sewer.
No, it's not Raiden. It's Gray Fox. I am like you. I have no name except for Gray Fox and Frank Yeager and Null. Remember Null? Remember when he was Null?
So, yep. No, do we like it's first? Oh, black. Maybe
I will scout ahead. You will provide backup.
Sir, yes, sir.
So this is definitely the coolest outfit in the game. It looks super rad. The visor doesn't move in any way. This is also the second time Raiden has cosplayed as Gray Fox. There were the VR missions in MGS2. Again, a lot of MGS2 references. We also get the Fox Blade, the high-frequency blade used by ex-Foxhound Field Agent Frank Yeager, a.k.a. Gray Fox, a.k.a. Null. Don't forget that, after he was outfitted in a cyborg ninja chassis by Dr. Clark. Remember, Dr. Clark was paramedic, so that's our one and only reference to a paramedic in this game. Gray Fox's soul still echoes through the blade. What does that mean? Well, that means, for one, it looks like the sword, looks like the Twin Snakes version of it, mostly. Gray Fox and the blade itself were redesigned for this game. More specifically, were redesigned for the PlayArts Kai action figure. But this is meant to be how he looks. He's a little bulkier, but don't worry about it. If you've seen Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the Gray Fox trophy is based on this model, but is lower poly. And has this exact Fox Blade as well. So that is the canonical look of Gray Fox. I mentioned that this thing could just cut enemies apart. Well, if you combine that with Ripper mode, sometimes dudes just die in 1 second like that. This is very hard, though, so they added these little guys in here to be a bit more of an obstacle, because just a Mastiff on its own, not too much to worry about. A rank, though, because we didn't get any good combos, but that's fine. So you can play the game from the beginning with the Fox Blade. It's not actually a New Game Plus item. It was I think it was like a retail exclusive DLC that they ended up releasing later. And of course, you know, if you buy this game nowadays, I think the only way to buy it nowadays is the Steam version. I don't think it's available in any other digital storefronts. Yeah, you can get it from the beginning and kind of be like, Metal Gear Rising, I don't understand that game. You know, sometimes I just... Like, what's wrong? I just cut a guy up. I thought this was supposed to be a hard action game. Yeah, don't make that mistake. A lot of people want to LARP as Gray Fox. I don't blame them. That's what I do. As soon as I'm done streaming on Sunday, I go outside and swing around a stick, and I'm all like, you know, a battle to the death with you, only that and my soul, can my soul find respite? And then the neighborhood watch gets a little concerned, you know. But I don't recommend playing this game like that. So we're going to go back to the Morisama Blade, because like I said, it's overall kind of the best.
There is a boy in these sewers.
Whoop, we can climb on that. Actually, you know, let's not use the Morisama Blade. Let's use the high-frequency longsword. It's a high-frequency blade modeled after a Nodachi, which is a... Most of the time when you'll see, like, an anime katana, it's kind of more of a Nodachi. I'm sure you've heard the most annoying guy you know tell you that. Maybe it was me. It was probably me. But it's a very cool sword, and you might notice there, when I slash with it, it lengthens, and then after a while, boop, kind of shrinks back into place. I think that's neat. Insert a gif of Raiden's kid with the toy sword here. Yeah, that's just like that's just footage of me when I was a kid. That's what they didn't tell you is, They actually mocapped that ahead of time. Metal Gear is actually brilliant and was planned way ahead of time. And I was the child that mocapped that. It's true. It's true. It makes sense too if you know my real world lore. It makes sense because when I was a little kid, I did have spiked up hair like that. And also, I was in, I was in a instructional karate video and, like, in a brochure. So I do have some acting experience as a child. So yeah, you know, we can create this new lore that I actually did the mocap for Little John. Anyway, yeah, this thing's basically just a slightly slower but longer range version of the default sword. I just think it looks cool. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite looking of the more normal blades. Speaking of annoying kids with spiked up hair, here's George. We're not going to see him, though, because he only appears in cutscenes. There we go. I love how he just tears that little dude out of its robot chassis. Oh, now they're angry. Hey, can we... Oh, jeez. Can we heal off of you? Thank you. So if that looked a little awkward to you there, what I did was I used the stinger input to close the gap, and then I hit the prompt, the execution prompt. It's kind of a fun thing that doesn't really do much other than look a little funny and feel real cool. You can cancel a lot of things into a lot of other things in this game. You can also cancel its sequel. Aw, too soon? No, I think it's not too soon enough. Where the hell's the sequel? Just make it, man. People still want a sequel to this game. You could do it.
Heavy UG activity ahead. It is possible they are conducting test operations
It is.
while the lab is closed.
It is possible.
To get into that lab. Is there some way you can sneak past?
I mean, I could, but wouldn't it be cooler to just fight them?
That could work, actually.
Let's just excuse me. Yep, that looked great. So, a funny thing about this particular game, and I feel like this is definitely, if you've heard me talk about Devil May Cry 4 in particular, there are certain games where the better you get at them, the sillier they look. And Metal Gear Rising, getting good at it, you know, attaining a high level of proficiency, means you start to be aware of when you can do certain prompts and cancels and things like that. And as a result, the game starts like jittering and floating around in really unappealing looking ways. So it's like there's a sweet spot of understanding and skill you can have that still makes it look good. Yeah, let's go fight those Vodomierka.
It is your choice.
But then if you start to get a little too good at it, it starts to look really silly. And I've always kind of felt that with like Dante and DMC4, I pretty famously don't like. I think he plays ugly. I think high level, where is this thing? There we go. High level DMC4 Dante plays kind of ugly. And I think when you really max out your skill at this game, it starts to look a little like you're playing the most jank thing ever.
You're under attack. Keep on coming.
And like you start knowing things like like that. It's silly. It's a very silly game. Because this move, I mean, it's my favorite move in the whole game. It's also, like, the strongest, most absurd. It keeps you up in the air, so most stuff can't hit you. It's got active frames 5 EVA. Combine it with Ripper mode, and it will just tear things apart, which, considering this weapon already has a tendency to tear things apart, it's over the line. But it's fun to hit the buttons, it just doesn't always look the best. It's an important distinction. Distinction. Distinction? Did I say stinction? Oh my god, what is... Talking like a Rugrats character. It's because, you know, when you play Metal Gear Rising, you can't help but be very in touch with your inner child. Oh. Okay, alright, alright. Oh! Can we... Okay. Ah! Alright, alright, let's... Nice. Oh! Oh! 2 of them, huh? Okay, can you maybe get out of here? There we go. There we go. No problem. Oh, little problem, little problem. Oh, come on now. As I am still mentally on the idea of, you know, playing good versus playing pretty, I remember there was a term they used for showing off the Metal Gear Solid games in trailers that they called beauty play, which was basically, we've practiced this section and highly scripted our actions to make it look as cool as possible and as, you know, appealing as possible. And I've always found that pretty interesting. It's kind of changed the way I look at video games and video game skill. Because oftentimes, to play in a way that makes the game look as good as possible, you're doing very suboptimal strats on purpose. And if you go back and you look at particularly, I feel as though Phantom Pain, the gameplay demonstrations of that game, if you look at how they curated showing off the missions in that game, which is all stuff you can do. You know, there weren't any lies, there weren't any, you know,
I'll see what I can come up with.
whoa.
All right.
There weren't any things you couldn't do in gameplay that they showed off, for the most part. Aside from when they said, oh, we're making this a special mission for, like, E3 or whatever. But if you play the game, you notice that there's no reason to do what they were doing, because there's usually a more effective means. And I think that's interesting. To me, you know, obviously, I love smoke grenades. I love speed runs. I love seeing, you know, what people can do who are more skilled at a game than I am. But oftentimes, yeah, it just does look kind of ugly. It just doesn't look as cool as it could. Well, speaking of which, headshot tranking half a dozen guys in 30 seconds isn't the most stylish. Yeah, exactly. And that's how, you know, Phantom Pain in particular, but a lot of Metal Gear games, that's the best way to do it. You know? Like, even when they adjusted the difficulty and parameters to make it harder to tranquilize a guy from halfway across the stage, you can still do it. You just start to learn things like, I am shaking my... I am mashing my stick as hard as I possibly can, and he still, he still wouldn't let go. Alright. Hey, even when, like, they started putting in bullet drop and such. Oh my god. The only thing there was, okay, I just have to get used to the arc of the bullet drop. And from there, you know how to do, like, crazy trick shots. That will still let you tranquilize a guy from, like, half a mile away. And it's still the best way to play the game.
Raiden, if they continue to increase security...
We remember the chattering brains. We don't need those. So yeah, it's kind of a thing where now when I look at, like, high-level play of any game, I'm like, okay, this is impressive objectively, but does it make the game look good? Does it make the game look fun? Because, like, again, another series I like is the Sonic games. You know, I love me some Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You ever watch a Sonic 3 and Knuckles speedrun? Because half of the stages have a vertical scroll. They're about breaking the vertical scroll by doing a well-timed jump right at the coordinates. And luckily, the 0 point of a lot of the stages is close to the goal, so like Ice Cap Zone, for example.
Is it over?
For now.
I think you can skip the entirety of Act 1 and 2. Like, I think you could just do a well-timed jump super early on and just warp to the end. And, like, that doesn't look cool. Like, it's the first time you see it, it's the most impressive thing you've ever seen. You're like, oh my god, they're, like, reading the code. They can see the Matrix. And then you're like, but they're missing out on all the cool Ice Cap Zone stuff. So even though it's, like, very technically impressive, it's like, well, is it nice, though? Is it something I actually want to, you know, see more than once?
Funny business, and they might just open fire.
Can I... There we go. Speaking of doing things the quickest way possible. Like, did that look cool? Was that as fun as the first time I did it? No. But I remembered you could do that. And get the S rank easy. I demonstrated skill, but it wasn't that fun to watch, you know? So it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting concept. You know, the super play compared to the speed run, basically. They both have their purpose, and they both demonstrate, whoops, a different form of mastery. Now, I'm not demonstrating any mastery in this game, so the entire conversation is kind of null and void. But I do think it's funny. So, these upcoming rooms are why I wanted to use the Gray Fox outfit, because it's a facility. It's very Shadow Moses. Hey, let's use the high-frequency wooden sword. It's a blunt weapon crafted from Honduran mahogany, the wood best suited to high-frequency enhancement, apparently. While incapable of cutting through targets, this unbreakable wooden sword's high-frequency upgrade make it ideal choice for... make it the ideal choice to subdue cyborgs without killing them. So... if we smack these dudes around a lot... Now, this, I believe, makes it, like... No, actually, I was going to say makes it almost impossible to get an S rank. No, that's not true. If you fight everyone with this, you can get a no-kill bonus. Now, I already killed someone, so it won't count. But the way this works is, even though it will not cut or kill... there's a % chance that you'll deal enough damage that the enemy cyborg will just sort of peace out and be like, I've had enough of this. Of course, UGs, when taking enough damage, will just explode. So it's kind of an interesting way to play through the game. Because you can't do any executions or blade mode stuff, it kind of makes it more like a typical action game in that way. There was a variation of this sword that was exclusive to the Japanese version called the Soul of Snake sword. The only difference was it would have voice clips of Akio Otsuka, voice of Solid Snake, Naked Snake, etc. Saying, you know, some famous Snake lines, like mimicking, like, that's damn good, like when you use healing items and such. That's not available in the English language versions. And you can probably surmise why. You can probably imagine why a Soul of Snake sword that has Snake voice clips in 2013 didn't come out in the Western versions. I think that's very silly. I think it would have been a nice little last hurrah. It would have been a way to, you know, respectfully... you know, if we were to move on from Sir David Hayter to another actor, mayhaps, you know, that would have been a nice way to see out the old age, but no, instead we just ignore him entirely and the legacy and everything he did to contribute to the series and the character. Hey, let's restart that because that didn't go well. But now, of course, that David Hayter is back as Snake, and basically has been since early 2016. I hope at some point there'll be like a re-release of this or something that does record new lines or reuse old lines. Because it's such a cool weapon, and it's very fun to see it in gameplay and just have all the famous little snake quotes. Look, there's 2 Grods now. There are 2 rocks now. That's a Sonic Heroes reference for some reason. Oh my god! So this is a lot of why I like this weapon. Is dealing with Grods. Oh boy. Oh, they're both Desperado Grods too, so I believe on hard... Maybe it's hard? I want to say there's a variation where it's one Desperado Grod and one Olive Drab Grod, but maybe, again, I'm just incorrect. Jeez. Wow. The machine gun's even just whittling me down. Okay, here we go. Now this is the... Oh, jeez. I really could have used that heal, but I guess not. We're just using all of our healing items. That's fine. Oh my god. And they call it very hard for a reason. Oh, man. Alright, alright, alright. Can I, like, Can you stop moving, brother? There we go. Oh my god. Oh my god. That was a terrible joke. Almost as bad as my gameplay.
Right. I knew I'd seen that guy before. Stephen Armstrong. As in Colorado Senator Stephen Armstrong. They're already talking about him.
Yep.
Not to mention headline. This is
Double think required to the... Yeah. It's very obvious what happened. And again, it's 2025 now, you know? David Hayter's back as Snake. They've got new Metal Gear games coming out. Director San, he gets to make his own stuff. Everything. The timeline is repaired as far as I'm concerned. Look at this setup now. Before this was just 2 armored cyborgs. Now it's a very nasty setup. Oh. Oh. I didn't know they could use grenades in such a tactical way. I've never seen that before. Oh, man. Oh, we might get a legitimate game over. Look at that. Wow. Okay, that was pretty funny. I'm not even upset with that. I've never... That's like that's the knife elevator bit from Shadow the Hedgehog all over again. That's turning the corner and getting punched in the face by a gun soldier. Oh, God. There we go. Finally. Jeez. All right.
What it can do control. So what? And do it right.
Yep, the little Saiyan pods here. Press button, and we complete the mission. We did it. B rank. There's going to be a lot of B ranks. Listen, like I said, there's two ways to be good at a game. You can make it look good, or you can make it be effective. I am neither. I am the most mediocre at video gamesman you will ever see in your life.